What is up? Welcome to this week's episode of Lambgoat's Vanflip podcast. Today I am joined by Scott Lee, founder, curator, and overall dude that runs the New England Hardcore and Metal Festival. That's the long-running festival in Massachusetts that had a brief hiatus, but is back with a vengeance. And Scott, we're glad to have you on the show. Welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's very exciting.
Yeah. So congratulations on the revamping or the resurfacing of New England Hardcore Metal Festival. Man, it was a long running staple for many years.
Yeah. We took a pause. We took a little pause. I stopped doing it in 2016, and I moved to Portland, Oregon for a while, and they kept doing it for a little bit, and then they just stopped doing it, and then now we did this thing last year called Tattoo the Earth, and I did it with the people at Mass Concerts, and I had a really good time doing it. And I'm like, they're like, hey, why don't you come back and do this? This be good. It'd be fun. And then I saw Jamie Josta doing Milwaukee, and me and him had a talk. He kind of kicked me in the ass a little bit. It was one of those types of things, and yeah. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, we'll do it. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm like, we're doing it outside. There's two main stages outside, and then we have the small stage inside in the small room. So that'll be pretty intimate in there, but and hot and sweaty and nasty, and people jumping all over each other, and that'll be great. And then the outside, big metal rock show. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And you guys, you started it kind of like as a beef to the Milwaukee Metal Festival, right? Like in the early days. Yeah, and it's just wild that Jamie took that over, and he's the one, busting your chops to start your own, or to revamp the other one.
Yeah, it was. I worked with Shadows Fall back in the day, and this person that I will not say his name got the band on Milwaukee Metal Fest, and basically we went there, and me and Matt Bashan, the guitar player of Shadows Fall, were walking around handing out CDs and doing things and blah blah blah, hanging out, and it was just like it was such a bad vibe. It was annoying. People were rude, blah blah blah. It wasn't a good time for people. I mean, it was like one of the cool things about it was they were giving free cigarettes away. You got free Camel cigarettes. That was about it. And I smoked like 2 packs a day back then. So, on the way home, we're driving home back from the fest, and Matt's like, you can do this. You can do something like this. You know what I mean? And I'm like, cool, yeah, we'll do this. And so John Peters, who's the owner of Mass Concerts, was like, hey, we're taking over the Worcester Palladium. You want to do a walkthrough? And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. So we went there. I went up there, and he's like, yo, check out this. They have this little dance room here. It's basically the foyer going to the balcony. And I'm like, yo, we can make a second stage here. This is awesome. We can have this like little state. This would be amazing. So we built it and made it like a second stage of development room, 500 capacity room, and it was awesome. And now that was the second stage always for Metal Fest, and it's also upstairs at the Palladium now where tons of bands play and stuff like that. So yeah, and that's basically it came back. Yeah, it kind of was like not a beef. It was just like we can do this better, and we tried. We failed at some things miserably, and we did some things and made some things happen, and just worked it, and figured out formulas. And we had a good run there for a while. Did some cool DVDs and had some fun. And it's the only festival that had fucking Earth Crisis doing direct support to Manowar. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's crazy when I look back on that time frame, like the early 2000s, late 90s, and like the music festivals that the hardcore scene was kind of just producing by itself. It kind of I don't really remember a lot of like other rock festivals doing that, other than like maybe your standard radio station may have like a bash at your local town, but there wasn't really like there is now, like destination type festivals for other kind of stuff. And I feel like I always like cut my teeth on the hardcore festivals like Hellfest and all these other like local regional festivals I used to travel to.
Yeah, man. I mean, nowadays there's so many different things. You know what I mean? Like the Danny Wimmer festivals, and the Blue Ridge Rock Festival, which is great, and there's a whole bunch of different things going on now. Back then, there was like, for what our world, you know what I mean? There was Hellfest, us, and there were some festivals in California.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some would pop up in Texas or whatever. Other than that, you're going to Europe. You know what I mean? You're going to see everything in Europe, and like that. Like there was huge. Like we would go to the big meetings in, what was that called? Fuck, I can't remember it. It was like all the CMJ, College Music Journal meetings in New York City, and people would like talk about what different festivals, what is this, and people were like, we don't have any big European festivals, and people are like, the closest thing we have is New England Metal and Hardcore Festival and Hell Festival, and that's it. And then people saw that they could make more money out of it, and other festivals came about, and
Yeah.
that's when we started like looking at it and going, like we're going to price ourselves out of it. We only have like a 2,800 capacity room. So now, like doing outside, we can do bigger things and make it a bigger event,
Right.
and have more fun with it.
That's a great idea to do, obviously, because it's a nod to the old times because you have the inside, but you also have the expanded, new chapter. What do you where do you think the idea for like the scene to start doing festivals, like, because it just seems like they were so prevalent back in the days, and then they kind of faded away until the bigger festivals started to take over, and then it was kind of like a resurgence of like the smaller festivals again.
Like, what do you mean? Like, who had the idea of doing these? Like, like the bigger festivals, like
Not
type of
bigger
thing?
festivals, but like where did your idea for your festival came from, doing a better version of the Milwaukee festival, but I
Yeah.
wonder like where the origins of the original like hardcore festivals and stuff like that came from. I didn't know if you knew that because you obviously
Like,
have history in the
yeah,
promoter world.
I think a lot of it has to come, putting touring bands trying to tour together or come meet together in certain places.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. Like, I look back at the California takeover where there was Priceless, Snapcase, and Strife. You know what I mean? That was a huge festival. People talked about that for a long time. They even made a record and this and that was a great time for that cool victory era. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, so I'm trying to think. Like there was the Death Fest in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great fest. It's like I just think it's things that like people are like, cool. We're just going to try to get touring bands just to come to one place. You know what I mean? Or make it an event type of thing like the Maryland Death Fest. They do a great job there and like working with the city and everything like that. And it's like I think a lot of it, like the destination festivals, like are the key things, like the ones in Vegas and everything like that. I think those are done really well, and but I think there's like to go back to the history of it all. I really don't know. I just think it was like, hey man, this tour package is coming in this time. This one's this time. Why don't we put them together and try to make a festival out of it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's one of the reasons that happened. Like
It's it just looking back, it seems very advantageous for like your festivals back in the day to be so borderline DIY and do multiple day festivals with so many bands, and the logistics behind it have to be like insane, especially at that time.
it was fun. It was like it wasn't as hard as everybody thought it is because we had good people working the whole, the Palladium, the staff, and everything like that. We knew, like after the fifth, sixth year, we knew what we were getting into. You know what I mean? And it was just like preparing. It's there's formulas there. This is how many. This is what we're doing here. Like even down to the situation of like what time they're buying pizza for the staff. It's like this is how this works. It's like it just became turnkey in the sense where we knew, okay, this is how many bands we could put here. This is how many bands we could put here. What about this? What about this? How much can we pay here? How much is, and we put together the whole, it was, it worked. It was like I said, it became turnkey. Then things would change because pricing would change or
Mm-hmm.
bands would change. And then we added like VIP ticketing involved and just different things like that. I mean, I just think it was hard work. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely a year-round type of thing that we put ideas together. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And just I had people that worked with me, consulting and doing different things with it. And I think, but I never really looked at it like work. I looked at it like fun, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a joy putting it together and bringing new bands to for people to see. And like, like shit, we had, one year we had Lambgoat playing at 1 o'clock in the fucking
Yeah,
afternoon.
yeah.
Now the headline of the festival, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's wild when you look back again. Get very nostalgic looking back at these old flyers, but then you also see like these bands who are crushing it now, and they have been crushing it for like over a decade. But they've opened up at like, like you said, 10:30 at Warped Tour, like 1 o'clock at your festivals and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. Um,
10:30 at Warped Tour sucks. Just like
yeah,
anything, you shouldn't do that.
yeah,
Just,
it's kind of crazy. You're just busting a mosh pit out in the middle of the first thing in the morning sometimes, and like on a Wednesday somewhere. I think that was a meme I saw on like Twitter sometime. Um, what do you think made? Or what I wanted to ask first is how many years did it take for you to get comfortable with like doing the project and in itself? Like, did it ever get comfortable, or did it take a couple runs?
I think it was, yeah, I mean, just building the formula to make it comfortable and making everybody understand that what it was, what the vision was of it, what I mean, what this meant to the metal and hardcore community of New England, then to different people coming in from around the world. There's a gentleman named Noel who lives in Puerto Rico, and he's a great guy. He would bring probably 25 Puerto Ricans from Puerto Rico to the festival.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you got to come check this out. And he'd bring everybody, and it was awesome. And then we had people coming from China, Japan, and just fans, not bands, just fans that come in, and this Australia, blah blah blah. And it was important for, it wasn't a job. It was important to do this for the community, and to make this grow, the community grow in that sense. But it was also, it looked good. It helped the business. It helped
Mm-hmm.
everything with it. It made the Palladium look like the place everybody wanted to play. We did the DVDs. We did all this different things. People videotaping all this stuff. Made it look like it was made the Palladium look fucking huge. You know what I mean? And it was really good for the business of it all. And people just got excited about going to the Palladium. It was like, it became a destination festival in a sense as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, speaking of the DVD, there's a couple covers of the DVD that are basically burned in everyone's brain that are iconic, So that's for sure. I remember watching him as a youngster, as a young late teenager, early 20s-year-old. I would watch the Hellfest DVDs, the Victory DVDs, and all the other DVDs endlessly before they were like on YouTube and stuff. That's the only way you could see them on DVD. You had to put them in your Xbox or something like that. But yeah, what do you think led to the success of the New England Hardcore Festival for so many years?
I just think it was, the bands, we started branching out, doing, marketing worldwide, trying to like, how do I put this, internet helped a lot,
Mm-hmm.
the DVDs helped a lot. And just like the bands themselves, telling people about this, it was funny because like we'd have flyers for it 5 months before the festival. And I would be like, cool, can you guys take these flyers on tour with you? And the bands that would come through, here's these posters, here's this, do this. Can you put these out on your merch table? And it would let people know. That's, we grinded. We grinded.
I do recall seeing those on many a table, on many a merch table before. I do remember.
I did my job well.
Yeah. Speaking to the international side of like festival attendance, like that was always something that was showcased in a lot of the DVDs, and that was something that was very kind of, not, I don't want to say weird, but like awesome to see, but also surprising that so many people would travel for this kind of like music. And at that time, that music in some of these countries wasn't really super prevalent, but you would find like, Southeast Asia would pop off at a certain point, and you would have a lot of hardcore bands out there, or a lot of, other style bands in other places. But like, it was always a wide variety of people from, like you're saying, all over the world that would attend these festivals. And what do you think like drew that crowd in?
I think the lineup, one thing, I think coming to America and seeing a festival and seeing their favorite type of bands and all in one place, and making it easy for them. I mean, if you're like, here's the thing: Worcester is literally an hour and 15 minutes from Logan Airport, and there's 5 hotels right around the area. It's very simple, very easy. You don't have to worry. And a lot of people would come in from Boston and then go to the festival and then go travel to New York City and go to New York City and hang out and go see other shows there, and like, yeah, they made it their vacation. You know what I mean? Like I knew Australian people that would come over and like, yeah, we're on holiday. We came this part of the festival. This is the linchpin of our whole holiday is this festival. And I'm like, all right, mate, fuck yeah, let's go. So I think the lineup, I think being in America, I think the destination, making how easy it is, and being in the Northeast and stuff, I think that's what did a lot of it. But I definitely think the lineups are fucking sick as hell. So
Yeah.
I gotta pat myself on the back and do it again. Sorry.
No, I mean they're iconic lineups, man. I mean, like if anyone wants to go back and look, like you can look it up on Wikipedia or whatever. Just the lineup is each year is kind of insane, and like I said before, it's going to be a lot of heavy hitters that are still currently heavy hitters. Like
Oh yeah.
you have Lambgoat and Hatebreed and all these other kind of stuff. They've been playing the festivals for decades.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny because it's like, I'm like, it's the I'm very excited to see, you see the hate breeds, the terrors, and the obviously Shadows Fall, the Chelsea Grins, the Black Dahlia murders, and everything like that. I'm excited to see fucking Hunter Demons with, the
Yeah.
original lineup. That's shit I'm trying to like. I'm excited about. I'm also excited about like the Frozen Souls of the world. It's like I'm a true like person that loves metal, hardcore, and everything between.
Yeah.
And so it's like this whole thing is just like my wife said to me, she's like, it's really cool that you could put together your own festival of bands that you really like. And I'm like, yeah, that's sick.
He's playing Sim Festival. You're just you're picking and choosing who's playing what. Um,
Yeah. I
yeah, I
have
mean,
good taste, I hope.
yeah. As a curator of the Metal and Hardcore Festival, you better enjoy metal and hardcore. And that's what I was going to ask. Like, how much time do you spend like listening to or not listening to, but like discovering and listening to like new bands and new stuff that's going on in the scene?
A lot because I also have a record label called 1126 Records, and I try to put young bands and like basically I signed the first band I ever signed to the label was a band called I Am,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then now they're on Monarch Heavy,
Yeah, yeah.
and then like I just signed and then like signed Vatican. They went to UNFD, and like and I have this band Hazing Over that I just put out their record.
Yep.
They're playing the festival, and yeah, man, like I listen to a lot of new stuff, younger stuff. Mouth for War that just put they're coming out with a new record soon. Like just I have to listen to new stuff, young stuff. It's very exciting to me. I love the younger bands and I love developing bands. I own a management company
Mm-hmm.
too, and we manage. There's 4 of us developing bands and putting this all together and making this. Trying to make small bands into big bands. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So what
The
came
whole,
what came first for you? Because like obviously you've done like quite a bit. Your record label, you've been band manager, you've been show promoter, festival curator. Like, how did you like stumble into this like life?
Okay, so did shows for my friends' bands back in the day, but I also like would go hang out with my punk rock, glam rock friends and like help them move gear and like go to shows with them and go to little punk rock, hardcore shows or whatever. And then one day we're just like, yo, we're gonna go to the show. We're doing the show place called Katina's in Hadley, Massachusetts. And like discovering this stuff, I was like, oh, it's a real venue, it's real shows, and like they have Pantera played here once. Oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And like blah blah blah, and just got involved with the people in the club life, and then started booking shows and helping with shows and producing shows, and then putting out like cassette tapes and doing things and putting out comps compilation cassettes and just becoming part of the whole scene with things. And there's people involved with it like that got me involved with a woman named Gina Migliozzi, who still works for Mass Concerts and stuff like that. She got me involved, and like then we moved to met this guy named John Peters who worked at this venue called Pearl Street. And John Peters started his own company called Mass Concerts, worked for him. But we used to do shows at Pearl Street, it was in Middle Northampton, Mass. So you had all the colleges wrapped around it. So we do like punk rock, hardcore shows, world beat shows, like anything and everything that college kids wanted to fucking come see. And it was very interesting. I never knew, like, I learned about world beat music, like Ladysmith Black Bombazo,
Yeah, yeah.
and like crazy shit. Like whole, it was so eye opening. And then we do like metal shows. We do like Carcass. We do different like, doing like In Tune with Converge, and we created just made these really cool shows. And then we did a fest. There was this festival called the Loud Music Festival that these weird towny people would do every year, and it was like indie rock and this and like folk rock and really. And so me and my friend Mike Mannix, who's a really great guy, school teacher, and this other dude Matt Pike, not the guitar player on Higher Fire, but the agent Matt Pike. We did this thing called the Really Loud Music Festival, just kind of say fuck you, and we did like Converge, Dead Guy, Coalesce,
Yeah.
and like that was one thing, and then like we did like Warzone, The Business, and like Dreadnoks, a bunch of other like punk bands, and then the next day we did like Hatebreed, Aftershock with Madball, and then like we do a ska festival at night and stuff like that. And it was awesome, and it was like Nantucket Nectars. I got them to sponsor, and they gave us a bunch of free fucking juice, and it was really cool. And yeah, and that's basically the first festival that I ever had any involvement of doing. So doing that, and then putting out records for my friends' bands, and starting managing, working with bands, and doing this, and like, yeah, I can manage your band. I can do this. I can try this. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, and like, then just started working with bands. And John like grew and grew. He started doing Warped Tours, and just got involved with him more, and just started booking shows and booking bigger shows, and that's how I got involved with it. And then just worked with him for I was basically working with him for like 23 years
Yeah.
as a promoter. Then I started another company with my friend Cody DeLong called Soundreek, which is a VIP ticketing company, which you go to a show and we service all the meet and greets and all that crap and stuff like that, which is it's awesome. And then then just and then we kept booking and booking, then moved to Portland, Oregon, just concentrate on the sound rank and management, and then came back here and just doing some consulting gigs with different people and different record labels, and started a merch company called Downright Merch with another friend of mine, Seamus Menningham, as we have that too. And yeah, man, it's just rolls and rolls and rolls, and just seeing whatever I can grab onto and pull in and partner up, and
It's
sleep, and no.
I think it's the snowball effect, but I also like I'm picturing I can't remember the game that it was, but like there was a game where like I think the whole point of the game was you're a blob and you just kind of like roll and gather a bunch of crap, and that's kind of what a metaphor for you and your lifestyle right now. But hey, man, you know what I mean? You gotta stay busy. So
I do. That's one of the things where I definitely like to stay busy.
And on top of that, you have a great beard, and how long have you had your beard for?
Fuck, it's 2007.
Have you ever like trimmed it?
Yeah, it got trimmed today. My barber, bad friend Paul.
Oh, that's not what I mean.
Oh, I mean,
have you ever done like heavy maintenance on it, where you've trimmed like good chunks off of it?
Not in a while, probably not like 5 years, 6 years. But I got it trimmed today by my barber, bad friend Paul, who plays in the band Missing Link.
Nice.
I told him I'd give him a shout out on your podcast today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also wearing a guy who's cut my beard. Damage done. He's in a band, Gainesville, Jacksonville. He trims my beard as well. Do you ever find, how often do you want to, like, this is like beard talk, so we're going to go off topic for a hot second. Please. How often do you find you just want to, like, shave it off?
Never.
Never?
I can't. Here's the thing. If I do shave it off, I got all these chins underneath that look like a fucking turkey, man. Come on.
No, I mean, I can understand that logic, but, like, do you ever I just get weary of it sometimes. I mean, like, I don't shave it off, clearly, but I've gone times where I've shaved it off or, like, trimmed it drastically and then ultimately regretted it and just gone right back to, this. But Yeah, it's not like I don't know. Yours is much longer, and I've had it quite long too, and I think that was like at my worst. If I keep it maintained like this, which is a little long for me right now, I think I can handle it. But like any longer, I feel like just too cavemanish, and I feel like all that's coming back.
I just let it grow, and like I'll trim it. Like this is probably the longest it'll ever be. I don't know if you can see,
It's decent. It's decent.
but yeah, and like I don't know. I'm like used to it, and like I know what I can wear, and I can't wear the zip up things. And if I have to put a coat, I got to, it's and like
What is your opinion on like the guys that like
braid.
braid their beard, or like like Don from Obituary has the the weird like string thing that Shavo has from System of a Down. They got like the whole little long
Oh man,
ponytail thing.
to each their own. It's not for me. It's like look
Yeah.
at Tim from Fit for an Autopsy. He braids it, and like I make fun of him, but he's my friend, so um, he's a great guy. Shout out to Fit for an Autopsy. But I think my beard is just this is how it is. I feel like I don't have hair anymore on my head, and just got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. All right, let's cut the beard talk because we're gonna lose everybody.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's nobody wants to fucking hear that.
so you're juggling like a million things. How do you juggle your time? Like, do you do any
I have
like
good partners. I have really good
organizational
partners.
skill? Like, how good are your organizational skills? Like, are you all over the place? Is it easy for you? Is it hard for you?
I have a really good memory, but I also have really good partners and really good people that work around me, that I can rely on. And it's just like it's just part of the game. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Mm.
and go to bed at 11 at night. It's just like work all the way through. My wife, I have a great wife. She understands everything and how I work and how I do things. And there'll be times where I'm like, oh shit, I got to do this. Oh shit, I got to do this. I mean, on this podcast right now, I have gotten 15 phone calls and I probably have 37 text messages. But it is what it is. Like everything gets done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever, if I ever feel like I'm getting overzealous or need help with something, I ask for help. I don't ever sit there and go, hey, I can do this. I got this. I realize I have boundaries. I know I have boundaries, and when I do things, or if it's like if I feel something's not gonna work, I won't force it. I'll make it happen. Like doing the festival itself, like was a lot of preparing, was a lot of going, okay, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? How are we gonna do this? And talking to the people at mass concerts and doing this and working with this, and like how much time can I dedicate to this? How are we going to do this? And just putting everything in perspective. You know, I write notes. I make things happen. I have things on my agendas. I cross them off, add more, blah blah blah. That's how it all works. It's
Yeah.
like, but main thing, having good partners and just trying not to getting as much sleep as you can.
Like outside of just like work experience and just like trial and error of just like going at it, have you had any kind of like training or seeked any kind of like schooling or mentorship uh, outside of partners or people you work with along
I,
the
I've
way?
had I've had some great mentors. John Peters, Migliosi, Chris Bischoff, people like that. I've had some great people that I can lean on in my life, family. My uncle who passed away, my father obviously, but I graduated high school with a sixth grade education, and I went to my local school here to see if I could, get in college and do all that type of thing. Excuse me. They're like, here, you got to take the college prep course, blah blah blah. And they're like, did you graduated? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, you graduated with a sixth grade education then, because that's where you're at. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking stupid.
Mm.
So basically, I tried to do a semester of college and passed all my tests and everything like that. And then I went for a week and I didn't like it, and I went on tour with my friend's band. And I didn't look back. I didn't. So basically, I have great people skills. I can put people together. I try to make deals and do things like, I network very, very well. I get along with a lot of people. Not too many people talk shit about me. I mean, there's definitely people that talk shit about me, but
Not that
You're,
many.
there's definitely going to be people talking shit about me after this. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm a good human. Just try to work hard. That's what it is. Comes down to being. But no. I mean, I went to Putnam Vocational Technical High School.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if like do you spend time like listening to audiobooks, reading books, or anything like that, or anything I guess for like time management and just like entrepreneurial type shit because it's just a lot to. It just seems like an overbearing amount to juggle. You know what I mean? For the normal
Sometimes,
person, yeah.
sometimes, like I'll listen to different people, like, but like it's like, I, I mean, I don't know. I just watch a lot of like bigger people in the business and seeing what they're doing and how they're doing things and just like talking to them and seeing what it's I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
All right. All
Just
right.
working hard, like in the sense of like putting the heart, putting trying to get sleep. I realize I'm an older person, just trying to stay healthy, trying to go to the gym, trying to do that, try to keep my mind fresh and clean, and trying to look at what's coming on the horizon for the music industry. You know what I mean? What's changing? What's hot? What's not? And not trying to keep. My body's getting older, but I feel like my mind's getting younger.
Right.
And not trying to put myself in any boxes, if that makes sense.
It's like you're sharpening the tool over the years, and it's becoming more and more sharp, and because you're more focused on actually like you get more finite ideas and more you realize what you want to do, what you really want to waste your time on.
Yeah. I like being humble about things and admitting when I fuck up and like, oh, I messed up. This is, like I've started so many different businesses and they failed. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's, never looking back at it going, hey, this sucks. I fucked up. I'm just going to go get a job at a factory and be a fucking idiot. No, I never did that.
Yeah.
So,
What is one of the ones that failed that hurt the most that you wish you could have
well,
succeeded in?
they all hurt.
Clearly, yeah, but which one stings the
Oh,
most?
I mean, I had a record store once, and it was cool, and that kind of failed, but that was cool. We utilized it as an office as well,
Nice.
but
What
I
time
wish
frame was that?
uh, 2000, early 2000.
Hmm. Nice.
When was 9/11? What year was 9/11? I don't remember.
2001, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
2001.
Okay.
Cool.
I was at the store. I was at the store when that happened. So yeah, we're at the first location. Yeah, so yeah, early 2000s, late 90s. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even want to put the idea in your head. I was going to say what's stopping you from doing it now, but I don't want to.
I do. I have a merch company that
That's
has
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You make your own vinyls
records
now.
being
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of like a brick and mortar, like coffee shop type
It is
record
brick and
shop.
mortar. It's a
Yeah.
warehouse in Methuen, Massachusetts.
Forgive. All right. When does it stop then, Scott? When is there a retiring? Is there a retiring goal? Is there a finish line, or are you just gonna like do
When
it
I
until you're
die,
112?
straight up, like that's it. I don't like. I mean, slowing down some stuff, but I feel like I try to do so much good work and try to help people and do this. I don't know. I don't want to stop. It's like there's no rhyme and reason to do it. Stop. I don't want to have a goal. Like, I mean, like me and my wife have goals, but I don't want to stop working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think if people like what am I gonna do? Sit on my porch and talk about the good old days, this, that, and the other thing when Aftershock used to play with Hatebreed. No, I'm not gonna do no.
Yeah.
No.
I
I
would
don't want
ask. I would ask if there's like an ideal lineup for you, but I feel like you've already done multiple ideal lineups for yourself because you've.
I've tried. I've tried to do like
Is there anyone you haven't gotten at all? You've never been able to get?
no, no. I don't
Even bands that maybe haven't played in a long time or might be, out of commish. Have you gotten
I
everyone you've asked
mean
for?
are you talking for this year?
No, in general, just in general, in the
Oh,
entire time that you've booked the New England Hardcore Fest.
uh I don't think so. I think we if we didn't get them that year, we got them the
Yeah,
following year.
eventually. Okay, so
Yeah.
almost like 100%, 100% batting average. That's nice.
I think so. Yeah. I really tried. I really tried to get Blood Has Been Shed this year. I'm going to put that out there in the world so that maybe get them next year. Really
Come
tried.
on, Howard. Come on, Howard. That would be
Come
nice.
on, Hojo, let's go.
Um, so I know we talked about it right before the podcast, and I feel like we've let enough time go by. But today is July 11th, and last night the hardcore world lost somebody who's pretty prominent in the scene, and uh, Mean Pete unfortunately passed away from colon cancer, and I know you kind of knew him, so you know.
Yeah, yeah. He was the first time I met me and Pete was in front of the Worcester Palladium, and he tased me. So let's go start with that. And yeah, I mean,
What time
listen,
frame is that?
uh, uh, late '90s, early 2000 when I had the record store. I
I was
think,
gonna say,
yeah.
was he in like Jinkos and still like somewhat new metal?
No, he was more tight jean. No, he was definitely like
Yeah.
that type of era. I think I had some really great talks with him over the years, and like tried. They played a handful of times at Metal Fest.
Mm-hmm.
He the last conversation we had, um, we were putting together like a Body Snatcher Christmas show, and like the guys in Body Snatcher are like huge fans. I,
Yeah.
I work with Body Snatcher,
Right.
by the
Right.
way,
Right.
huge fans of Remembering Never, and like we're trying to put this whole thing together, and it didn't work out because of some reason or another,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm like he's like, can really want to try to do it? We'll try to make it work. I'm like, yeah, man, this is what we can give you. He's like, okay, for you, we'll do this, blah blah blah. And like I called him about something else, and yeah, and I was talking about something, and I forgot what it was. I don't remember what it was, but like we're texting back and forth, and the last thing he's like, "Thank you for everything," and he's like, "I love you, man." And I go, "I love you, brother," and that was the last text message.
Hmm. Yeah. That's rough.
But yeah, he was a funny guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a great dude, for
He
sure.
was definitely a great guy. John Blake put some old videos on Instagram today of him and them playing shows together. John Blake from Broken Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, all right, this sucks. Cancer sucks.
Yeah, no,
Fucking
it's
terrible.
bad, and like it was such a weird thing because like I went through a similar situation with my mom, like over a decade ago. She like she had cancer, and then for a little while it kind of went away, and came back, spread, and it didn't take long after that, and it's kind of like this. I feel like the similar situation with Pete. I mean, we ran into each other again at Furnace Fest after I think he moved to Atlanta. He
That's what I saw him. Was Furnace Fest too. Yeah.
Yeah, we ran into each other at Atlanta. I'm sorry, in Furnace Fest, and I was like, "Hey, how's everything?" And he had mentioned it might be back or something like that, and I didn't really. He was pretty low key about it after that, to me at least. So, but we saw each other a couple times, and he was always really supportive of whatever we were doing over here, and I met him through the podcast. I mean, I've known of him for decades because I grew up in Florida, and he was a big part of the hardcore scene here, and has always been. But at some point, we were trying to get some stuff together with him to get some of his like music knowledge, and he wanted to do a podcast, so we were gonna try to get all that stuff together when he was starting to feel better. But yeah, unfortunately, that didn't really work out, and it was quite a shock yesterday, to be honest with you.
Definitely. It was definitely. I saw last night. I was going to bed, and I was like, doing the death scroll, looking through, see what's going on, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, I see Rich Hall posted something. I was like, and it was a picture of him and Pete, and I'm like, no.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, it was such a bummer. Rich Rich Hall is a great guy. If you don't, do you know Rich Hall at all?
Yeah.
By any chance?
I mean, I've run into him once or twice at events. Yeah.
Okay. He's a great artist,
Mm-hmm.
great painter. Um, but yeah, rest in peace, my friend Pete.
Yeah. All right. How do we get out? How do we get out of this hole now?
I can tell you a story about John Blake, and then
Yeah.
one of the people I had a heart attack and was in the hospital if you want.
Swap it up. Let's change. We got to get out of this drudgery moment.
So Rich Hall did a post Metal Fest party once at CBGB's back in the day, and so Metal Fest was Friday and Saturday. So Sunday I did a post show in Springfield, and he did a post show in New York City, CBGB's, and blah blah blah. And like I had a flip phone back then. It's that far back. Oh, Joe Hardcore is trying to call me.
Oh,
I love Joe Hardcore. And he I left it in my car, and I was doing the show at Fat Cats, and Fat Cats had two sides. On Sundays, we would only the only time we could do all ages was on Sundays. So one side was the band side where the show was happening. The other side was the bar side that was closed. So I was over on the bar side, and the phone wouldn't stop ringing. And the show's happening. It was between sets or whatever. And I picked up the phone. I'm like, Fat Cats, and they're like, "Hello, is this Scott?" I'm like, "Yeah, who the fuck is this?" He's like, and it was like Ken Susi. I think it was Ken Susi from on Earth. He's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I heard you had a heart attack. You're in the hospital." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I'm sitting here smoking a cigarette, drinking a Sprite. What are you talking about?" And yeah, man, I guess the guys in On Broken Wings, I blame John Blake for this. Said, put a thing on the Bridge 9 board or something like that I had a heart attack.
yeah.
And everybody was looking for me. And I left my phone in my car, so I had to go out in my car. I was like, yeah, it was fucking nightmare. It was the people calling my house. My parents were like, "What the fuck's going on?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, early. That's like an early day thing. Message boards, such a thing of the past, huh?
You think?
I don't even want to touch this subject. Let's just move on. So since you are a festival curator and have experience in the show promotion world and booking world, I've wondered in the last like couple years, how do you think festivals have affected like smaller scenes like ours, like hardcore and metal? Like maybe not all genres of metal, but like maybe like the smaller ones. Do you think that affects it in a negative way just because like
No, I don't. I think it actually helps. I think a lot more because how do I put this? Like I think there's a lot less people putting on smaller shows.
mm-hmm.
Not because the festival's hurting it, just because the lack of doing it. You know what I mean? There's like the energy, what you have to put out to do a show and make it all happen. It's a lot easier nowadays than it was back in the day. You know what I mean? But I think people just need to do a more DIY type of aspect and put on shows and do things and like help your scene, help your area of the country do better shows and like put on DIY shows in whatever it is, basements, record stores, or small venues, rented VFW hall. Do it. Just I just think there's a lack of people trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think festivals are hurting it. I think festivals are kind of could be helping it in a sense as well.
Yeah.
Because it's giving bands like places to tour to where they wouldn't. I don't know, like more bands are playing festivals like than touring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's one thing too, but I don't think the band needs to like a band doesn't need to be a full-time touring band if you're developing yourself into this, and you can get on these festivals. Obviously, that's first thing. But like the older bands don't need to go out and tour like.
No, yeah, of course not.
But like I think more people need to get. My opinion is more people to get off their ass and try to put on shows and do things.
Yeah,
that needs to happen.
And I think it would behoove them to not be in a band because that way they can focus on booking the shows and not just booking shows and then leaving town for possibly months when you're touring and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people that are involved in the scene end up booking in the scene, but they also play in multiple bands at times. So their time is spent elsewhere. So we need people that are dedicated to it locally that have no aspirations of being in a band, I guess.
Exactly. I think it's one of these things where it's like, you can go to, you can find a place to put on a show. You fucking can. There's places that like you can go to a VFW hall and be like, hey, I'm going to rent your hall out. This is what we're going to do. Oh, we need a cop, and that's $200. Okay, so the rent's going to be $300. Okay, you can do this. You can really figure out a way to do this. It's not hard. It really isn't. Just put in time. It's the effort in trying to make it happen. You know what I mean? And then, okay, that venue doesn't want us to have shows there anymore. Let's find another venue. I did that 7-8 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially in the hardcore world, you're gonna run into that in the hardcore world for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, just I did shows at churches. We did shows at gymnasiums.
Hmm.
Whatever you need to do, just do it. Do more shows. More shows need to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
How many
I'm
sh-
not gonna.
how many shows if you can remember this? How many shows did you lose money on before you made a dollar? In the early days, like way early days.
I don't know. I mean, I always made money.
Oh, okay. Smart man.
I always paid the bills and tried to, and as best as I could. You know, what I mean, try. I mean, definitely lost money on definitely a lot of shows, but I don't think there's. I think when you're doing this, I used to do a show a week, on my own. Never mind with mass concerts or anything like that.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, you win some, you lose some, but you're always like putting money aside for the loss to be comparable.
Yeah.
And like, it's part of the game. It's
Yeah.
part of the fucking game. It's like, it is what it is. I mean, I've asked for reductions a couple of times on things, been like, you know, um, and then paid things back, or be like, hey, I'm gonna get you. I know you're playing in Connecticut in 3 weeks. I'll pay you then. You know what I mean, or whatever. And fine, no problem. But yeah, it's things like that happen. It's all in the game, is what they say. You know what I mean?
If yeah, for the budding DOI promoter booker, what is the one piece of advice you would get them before they start that you wish you had known?
Um, be humble. Be be. I don't know. Just like I don't really don't know. I think you got to learn on your own, but just try to fucking just be a good human. You know what I mean? Try to understand that the business is happening. You have a business. It's part of it. You have overhead. You have to pay that. You have, if there's ways of doing it, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Try to be creative. You know, remember, if you're doing an all ages show, remember the parents are coming as well, and they're also assholes. It's like, or local all ages shows type of thing. It's
Hmm.
like we would do shows that like you'd have like a local band opening up for a couple national bands, and the local bands would sell tickets or whatever, and the mom and dads would come and they'd be like, "We're not paying. We paid for all the equipment. We paid for everything. Why should we have to pay?" Like shit. Like you got to deal with dumb people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you gotta have thick skin. Basically, that's what I would tell myself if I was starting to have thick skin and be humble.
Interesting. All right. I want to ask you about something that I found on our own website from millennia ago, it seems. So in March of 2012, you did an interview with Alex for your 14th New England Hardcore Metal Festival. Okay, this was 2012. Um, Probably should have checked if they've played since, but forgive me, I did not. So one of the last questions he asked you, why hasn't Converge played since 2003? And your reply was, we had an issue with them on the first year with security. Their situation is something maybe we can talk about in year 15. Jake Bannon and the rest of the guys and I are friends. We would love to have them back sometimes. I'm a big Converge fan. I always will be, blah, blah. So I was reading that back. I now see you said in year 15, whereas I originally said in 15 years you'd talk about it. So that's what I was going to ask you, but I can still ask you about it.
Yeah. You want to know what happened or what the situation was or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Oh, uh,
if you can.
oh yeah. I'm just trying to remember the whole scenario. One of their friends, I won't say his name, got beat up by security, and it was like it was the first year that we did it, and the security was very, very not cool about. It's one of the formulas that we had to get over. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want to do it anymore after that, and it was junky. And then Bane was supposed to play, and then they didn't play either because it was their friend as well. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was a shitty situation, but I'm a big fan of Converge still. I tried to get him for this year's festival, to be honest with you.
So they have yet to play. I'm scanning the lineups. I don't see them.
I think they played another year. I don't remember which one, but I tried.
It's weird because
They,
that's kind of like their neighborhood. That's their neighborhood.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get them. We'll figure it out someday.
Yeah, they're not. At least they're on the list of people that you've wanted and have gotten, and not been denied. So you've definitely succeeded in that. But um, All right, Scott, you are a very busy man, and I've known Joe Hardcore is trying to call you. You got other people trying to call you.
Call me. Yeah. Matt Honeycutt from Kubicon tried to call me. Whew, very interesting people.
Well, we can cut it short so I can let you go and handle all those phone calls and juggle all the things that you juggle. But I appreciate it taking the time out of your very busy day to talk with us today, man. And I look forward to the this year's New England Hardcore Metal Festival, man.
You
Congratulations.
coming? You're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
come,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. We'll come.
All right, I'm very excited about it. Thank you for being supportive over the years for the festival
Sure.
in your ways of Lambgoat.
Yeah, we're gonna keep lamb goating, as they say, and we're gonna keep it
Lambgoating.
going. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Take it easy.